The secret beneath the crown. The first rays of dawn had barely touched the palace walls when panic spread through the royal guards. The black feather had vanished. Queen Amina stared at the empty balcony floor. I left it here. Mama F closed her eyes. They wanted us to know they could enter and leave without anyone seeing them. Prince Kalechi immediately ordered the palace sealed. No one enters. No one leaves. Every servant, soldier, and minister was questioned. Nothing. No one had seen a stranger. Yet someone had walked through the queen's chambers during the night. Far away, the Shadow King watched from the ruins of an ancient watchtower. One of his masked generals knelt before him. Our spy remains inside the palace. The Shadow King smiled. Good. The queen is already surrounded. He looked toward the distant kingdom. Soon she will stop trusting everyone. And when trust dies, a kingdom falls. Back at the palace, the royal council gathered once again. General Obiora spread a map across the table. The Black Legion crossed the northern border 3 nights ago. But now, they've disappeared. Prince Kalechi frowned. An army cannot simply vanish. Mama Efean said quietly. This one can. They never fight like ordinary soldiers. They wait. They watch. They strike only when fear has already won. A cold silence filled the room. Later that afternoon, a young shepherd arrived at the palace gates, covered in dust and blood. He collapsed before the guards. They're coming. They burned my village. Queen Amina rushed outside. Who? The soldiers wearing black masks. They weren't looking for gold. They kept asking one question. The boy looked directly at Amina. They wanted to know where the true royal crown is. Everyone froze. That evening, Mama F led Amina and Prince Kalechi into the oldest part of the palace, deep beneath the royal chapel. Hidden behind a massive stone wall, they entered a forgotten underground chamber. At its center stood an ancient stone pedestal. On it rested a dusty scroll wrapped in golden cloth. Mama F carefully opened it. This has been hidden for generations. Prince Kalechi stared at the faded drawing. It showed 2 crowns. One shone with brilliant light. The other was completely black. What does this mean? Amina whispered. Mama Efisaid. There were never one. There were always 2 royal crowns. The crown of light. And the crown of shadows. Amina's heartbeat quickened. The Shadow King. Mama Efenadith. He is not trying to steal your crown. He already has his own. The 2 crowns were created together. As long as both exist, neither kingdom can know true peace. Prince Kalechi looked at the old scroll again. At the bottom was a single sentence written in ancient ink. When the 2 heirs meet, only one crown shall remain. At that exact moment, miles away, Queen Adana entered a massive underground fortress hidden beneath the mountains. Thousands of warriors dressed in black armor knelt as she walked past. Large drums echoed through the cavern. At the end of the hall, the Shadow King finally lowered his hood. Queen Adana gasped. You. It can't be. The man's face carried a long scar across one eye. He smiled. You believed I died 25 years ago. I allowed the world to believe that. Queen Adana slowly bowed. My king. He lifted the broken black crown from a stone altar. The time for hiding is over. Tomorrow, we begin taking back what belongs to us. Back inside the palace, Queen Amina couldn't sleep. She walked quietly through the royal library. Suddenly, she heard footsteps behind her. She turned. No one. Then, a soft voice whispered from the darkness. Don't trust the prince. Amina spun around. Still no one. Before she could move, an arrow shot through the library window. It struck the wooden pillar. Beside her head, tied to the arrow, was a small piece of parchment. With trembling hands, she opened it. Only 6 words were written in black ink. The spy sleeps under your roof. Queen Amina's eyes widened. She slowly looked toward the palace corridor, wondering if the enemy was already standing among the people she trusted most. The traitor within. The palace did not sleep. After reading the mysterious message, Queen Amina gathered Prince Kalechi, Mama F, and the royal guards. She placed the arrow on the council table. The spy is among us. Silence filled the room. Prince Kalechi looked at every face. No one leaves the palace until we uncover the truth. The doors were sealed. Every servant, guard, minister, and royal attendant was searched. Nothing. No secret letters. No black feathers. No sign of the Black Legion. Yet someone had fired that arrow. Someone had slipped away unnoticed. Far away, inside the mountain fortress, the Shadow King stood before a giant map of the kingdom. His generals waited for his command. Our spy has done well, he said. The queen now doubts everyone around her. One general smiled. When do we attack? The Shadow King shook his head. Not yet. A kingdom destroyed by fear is easier to conquer than one destroyed by swords. Meanwhile, Queen Amina wandered through the fortress. She noticed hundreds of young warriors training. Each wore a silver chain around one wrist. What does the chain mean? She asked. The Shadow King answered calmly. They swear loyalty with their lives. If they betray me, they do not live long enough to regret it. Even Queen Amina felt a chill. She realized she had never truly known the man she served. Back at the palace, Mama F examined the arrow more closely. Suddenly, her eyes widened. I know this wood. Everyone turned toward her. This arrow was made from the sacred ebony trees. There is only one place those trees grow. The forgotten forest. Prince Kalechi frowned. But that forest was abandoned years ago. Mama F shook her head. Not abandoned. Hidden. It was once the home of the Broken Lion clan. The next morning, Queen Amina insisted on going herself. I cannot hide behind these walls while my people are in danger. Prince Kalechi, Mama F, General Obiora, and 12 elite guards rode with her toward the forgotten forest. As they entered the thick trees, an eerie silence surrounded them. No vertsang. No animals moved. Only the sound of horses' hooves echoed through the mist. Then, one guard shouted, Your Majesty. The path ahead was blocked by dozens of stone statues. Warriors, kings, queens. Every face looked terrified. General Obiora reached out to touch one. It's real stone. Mama ife whisperda prer. These were once living people. Amina noticed something strange. One statue wore the royal crest of her family. She brushed away years of moss. An inscription appeared beneath it. King Chinidu, protector of the twin crowns. Twin crowns. Amina whispered. Mama ife froze. I've heard that name before. Before she could finish, a deep horn echoed through the forest. Boom, boom, boom. Black armored warriors emerged from every direction. The Black Legion had surrounded them. Prince Kalechi drew his sword. Protect the queen. A fierce battle erupted. Steel clashed against steel. Arrows flew through the trees. General Obiora fought bravely, cutting down enemy after enemy. But the Black Legion seemed endless. Then, a lone rider appeared on a black horse. The warriors immediately stepped aside. The rider removed his hood. It was the Shadow King. For the first time, Queen Amina looked directly into his eyes. He smiled. So, the last daughter of the lion finally stands before me. Amina raised her sword. Who are you? The Shadow King laughed softly. I am not your greatest enemy. I am your blood. The world seemed to stop. Prince Kalechi stared in disbelief. Mama F's face turned white. No. It cannot be. The Shadow King's smile widened. Ask your old nurse who your real father was. Before anyone could react, he threw a small golden locket toward Amina. She caught it. Inside was a faded portrait. On one side, a baby Amina. On the other, a young man with the exact same eyes as the Shadow King. Amina's hands began to tremble. The Shadow King mounted his horse once more. I'll let you keep your crown a little longer. When you're ready to learn the truth, come to the Mountain of Shadows. He raised his hand. The Black Legion disappeared into the forest as quickly as they had appeared. Queen Amina stood frozen, staring at the locket. Then she slowly turned toward Mama F. With tears filling her eyes, she asked, Who am I? Mama F will finally reveal the long-buried secret of Amina's birth, a truth that could destroy everything she believes about her family, her crown, and her destiny. The hidden heir. The ride back to the palace was silent. No one spoke. Queen Amina held the golden locket tightly in her hand, her mind replaying the Shadow King's words. I am your blood. At last, they reached the palace. Amina walked straight into the throne room. She turned to Mama F. No more secrets. I want the truth. Mama F lowered her head. For many years, she had carried a burden too heavy to share. Now, she could hide it no longer. She began to speak. 25 years ago, the kingdom was divided. There were two royal brothers, King Chinidu and his younger brother, Prince Aziel. Together, they were sworn to protect the twin crowns. But Prince Aziel believed the Crown of Shadows should rule the land. He gathered followers and created the Broken Lion clan. Civil war consumed the kingdom. Prince Kalechi listened in stunned silence. What happened to Prince Aziel? Mama Ifisaid. Everyone believed he died during the final battle. She looked at Amina. But he survived. He became the man the world now fears. The Shadow King. Amina's knees weakened. So, he's my father? Mama F quickly shook her head. No. But he is your uncle. The room fell silent. Your father was King Chinidu. Before he died, he entrusted you to me. He knew his brother would stop at nothing to claim both crowns. So I hid you. I let the world believe you were only a servant. Tears rolled down Amina's cheeks. The life I hated was the life that saved me. Mama Ifinadith. Yes. Meanwhile, inside the Mountain of Shadows, the Shadow King stood before the Black Throne. Queen Adana approached him. You told her part of the truth. Why not tell her everything? The Shadow King's expression darkened. Because she is not ready. He looked toward the burning torches. When she learns what happened to her mother, she will come to me willingly. Back at the palace. That night, Prince Kalechi found Amina standing alone in the royal garden. You've been quiet. Amina smiled sadly. I don't even know who I am anymore. Kalechi took her hand. You are the woman who chose kindness when others chose cruelty. No secret can change that. For the first time that day, Amina smiled. Suddenly, a palace bell rang loudly. Gong, gong, gong. A soldier rushed into the garden. Your Majesty, the northern watchtower has been attacked. Smoke rose into the night sky. Prince Kalechi immediately gathered the royal guards. When they reached the tower, every guard stationed there had vanished. Not a single body remained. Only one thing had been left behind. A black wooden chest. General Obiora carefully opened it. Inside lay the royal commander's sword, broken clean in half. Beneath it was another message. This is only the beginning. Suddenly, a loud scream echoed from inside the palace. Amina ran toward the sound. She burst into the royal archive. The room was in flames. Ancient books burned as terrified servants tried to put out the fire. Mama F cried out. The royal bloodline records. They're burning. Amina rushed through the smoke. Most of the scrolls had already turned to ash. But one half-burned scroll remained. She pulled it from the flames. Across the top were the words. The child of the two crowns. Before she could read another line, the ceiling cracked. A burning beam crashed between Amina and the scroll. The remaining half of the ancient record caught fire. Within seconds, the only document that might reveal the complete truth about her birth was reduced to ashes before her eyes. Far away, the Shadow King watched the glow of the palace fire from the mountain. He smiled. Now, she has only one place left to find the truth. The Mountain of Shadows. Queen Amina decides to journey into the Mountain of Shadows to uncover the truth about her mother. But what she finds there will reveal that Queen Adana's greatest betrayal happened long before Amina was ever born. And someone close to Amina may have helped hide the truth all along.